In-service education in nursing. We know the learning does not stop at the initial introduction, but it should be a continued process throughout one's working life in an organization to develop new skills, knowledge, and attitude. This can be achieved through well-planned in-service education and staff development programs. In this era, the job expectations are greater and employees' capabilities are less in comparisons. Means nursing working capabilities are less than what is expected from them. When the nurses are enriched with in-service education, their capabilities or work output is balanced with expectations. In-service education. It is a planned educational experience provided in the job setting and closely identified with service in order to help the person to perform more effectively as a person and as a co-worker. In service education, it is a vehicle by which goals and their multiple articulated means available to achieve them can be explored. Definition of in-service education. In-service education is a planned instructional or training program provided by an employer in the employment setting and designed to increase competence in a specific area. In-service education is defined as a continued program of education provided by the employing authority with the purpose of developing the competencies of personnel in their functions appropriate to the position they hold or to which they will be appointed in the service. It is an ongoing on-the-job instruction that is given to enhance the workers' performance in their present job. Aims of in-service education. Improvement of client through upgrading the services rendered with scientific principles. To keep in pace changing society to their needs. Acquisition of new knowledge. Improvement of performance. To develop specific skills required for practice. Increase the staff members' chance for promotion. To develop right concept of client care, to maintain high standards of nursing care, to observe and bring change in behavior, to discover potentialities in working environment. Now there are various concepts of in-service education which are planned education activities provided in a job setting. It is closely identified with services and it helps a person's performance effectively as a personal work. In hospital nursing services, it becomes the process of helping the nurse to carry out the functions with their obligations for nursing services. It helps to develop their skills necessary to reach the ultimate goals of health agency. For instance, the highest quality of the patient care. Characteristics or nature of in-service education. It should be given in job setting. Every program should be planned and ongoing. It should be closely related and identified with service competence. It should help the employees learning and improve his or her knowledge and skills and attitudes. We have to follow various steps in in-service education program for its effective implementation. Those are assessment, planning, implementation, and evaluation. In assessment, first of all, assess and identify the actual needs and prioritize them. After that, set the objectives and develop the criteria. After assessment, we have to do the planning. In planning, it is essential for the supervisor to become familiar with the policy philosophy of agency. By keeping in mind the objectives, find out the background and experience of the staff. Enlist their participation in planning, draw clear and definite objectives, plan the system of evaluation, and plan for adequate follow-up of staffs. Third one is implementation. In implementation, check the bulk of learning, give teaching and do proper monitoring of teaching. Lastly is evaluation. Post-test following the completion of training program, observation on transfer of learning to the job, then follow-up studies should be carried out. There are various approaches to in-service education which are centralized approach, decentralized approach and coordinated approach. First one is centralized approach. In the in-service curriculum ought to emanate from and be conducted by nursing personnel in the central administration of the agency. None of the learners are consulted or participate in the planning experiences and yet are expected to attend an in-service offering. The advantages of centralized approaches are they have budget control, evaluation of the program can be facilitated, prior decisions made on resources, people, places, things which can run the program very smoothly. Committees are directed to work on specific problems identified by administration. Disadvantage of centralized approach is it may lead to in reducing spontaneous interested participation and enthusiasm of learners. Second one is decentralized approach. It is planned by and conducted for the employees of one or more units. The employees are expected to keep administration informed of their activities and possibly consult with administration when help is needed. But the employees are expected to develop and direct their own learning experiences. In this approach, control in planning for in service is a responsibility of employees which require specific qualities such as self-directional, initiative and active participation. Advantages of decentralized approach is individuals are working in the same unit and share the responsibilities for meeting in-service needs. Disadvantages of decentralized approach are lack of leadership, conflicts may arise, inefficiency and less or no budget. Third one is coordinated approach. It is a compromise between the centralized and decentralized patterns in that while the practicing nurse does indeed carry a large measures of responsibility for the in-service curriculum, the central administration of nursing personnel of the agency is responsible for a broad program which is of importance to all nursing personnel. This approach involves both nursing administrations and practitioners in complementary way. Advantages of coordinated approach is mutual coordination and assistance. Duplication of work is totally avoided. Unity of effort is maintained. Methods used in in-service education. There are various methods which can be used for in-service education. Some of them are lecture method, group discussion method, role play, individual instruction method, demonstrations, panel discussion, brainstorming, conferences, and workshops. Is in-service education is necessary or whether it give benefits to or not? Benefits of in-service education: it keeps the employee enthusiastic in their work, it develops interest among the staff members to learn new things, develops a sense of responsibility for being knowledgeable and competent, it helps in decision making process with the use of effective problem solving techniques, it helps to adjust in change, it develops leadership skills, attitudes and motivate to employee, it aids in achieving self confidence. It helps to update knowledge and skills. It helps to improve professional practice. It helps the employees to keep abreast with the changing techniques and use of sophisticated tools and equipment. It helps in developing interest and job satisfaction. It develops sense of responsibilities among staff. There are several factors which affecting in-service education and its implementation. Those are cost of healthcare, changes in nursing practice, organization of nursing department, and manpower. First of all, cost of healthcare. In-service education program may increase the efficiency of nursing services, but it adds the additional expenditure on healthcare delivery system. Second is changes in nursing practice. It leads to frequent changes in the program and in-service education. Organization of nursing department. Planned approaches are regular and for this concern in-service education is affected as it includes staff availability and workload. Last, manpower. In-service education requires qualified human resources, which leads to increased demand for human resources. Evaluation of in-service program. It is very essential to evaluate any program to check their feedback and their effectivity. Staff development. Staff development is an important part of assisting performance improvement at organizational, faculty, central department, unit and individual level. Thus, it is important that the transfer of learning into the workplace is assessed through the process of review and evaluation. Evaluation is the process of finding out how the development or training process has affected the individual, team, and organization. There are several benefits of evaluation in-service education. Those are promote knowledge and skill efficiency to train and develop staff, identify cost-effective and valuable training programs leading to better focused training and development, use and reinforce techniques learned to help improve qualities and client service within the organization. It helps to define future development objectives. Steps of evaluation. First is evaluation criteria should be established. After that, participants should be given a pre-test. After training, post-test should be given. Transfer of the learning to the job setting performance area. The last is follow-up studies should be undertaken to see how well learning was retained. Types of evaluation. There are two types of evaluation. First is formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation. It takes place during the training program to monitor the learning progress. Feedback to the trainer provides for modify the form and process of training if needed. Tests used for formative evaluation are mostly prepared by the teacher trainer. Second is summative evaluation. It takes place at the end of the program. It is designed to determine the what extent which the instructional objectives have been achieved or not. This evaluation confirms both the improvement in the trainee's performance and the training itself. Methods of evaluation. There are four methods we can use in the evaluation of in-service education program. Those are evaluation instruments or methods, information evaluation, steering committee, and trainees diaries. Evaluation instruments or methods. In that, we can use records are used to measure the turnovers or absenteeism. Rating scales are used for performance, attitudes, and judgment of ability. Questionnaire used to measure decision makings and problem solving attitudes. Observation techniques used to evaluate skills. Personality tests to measure the changes in ability or knowledge. Then second is information evaluation. Questionnaire can be used because it gives information which can be compiled and utilized. Steering committee. A committee is formed with 3 to 4 members of trainee participants. These members interact with other participants informally about different aspects of program. The view of participants then complied and to be given to the program coordinator. Trainee diaries. The participants are given diaries at the beginning of the course and they are asked to write their views and opinions every day. The diaries are collected at the end of the total program. After effective evaluation, we have to prepare a report of in-service education program. The report should be prepared with the following elements: date and duration of in-service education program, coordinator and resource persons, purposes of the topic of the educational program, the group of individuals with basic qualification and number of individuals in the group, then planning components of in-service education, evaluation tools used for the evaluation of knowledge and skills, a brief summary of all the areas to be recorded in the report and submitted to the higher authority.